The night began with a rattle of dry leaves and the soft hum of porch lights waking up one by one. From the underground city of Momopolis, the Momo wriggled through a narrow dirt tunnel, pushing aside soil and tiny roots with his nubs. With a final shimmy, he emerged into a sheltered space beneath the porch, his antennae twitching at the scent of sugar drifting through the cracks. The soft glow of the porch lights painted his shell in warm hues, and the distant shimmer of orange, purple, and green above promised a world full of strange wonders. Momo blinked his wide, glossy eyes. He heard Matara speak of this night before, in whispers full of laughter. Halloween, a celebration of sweets and spirits and strange disguises. Momo peeked out from behind the pumpkin, his big, shiny eyes blinking at the lights. The air smelled kinda weird, like fire and sweet rocks. He tilted his head, antenna bouncing. Blah, 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 blah. Why everything so shiny? Took one wobbly step onto the sidewalk and instantly froze as a small human ran past with a plastic sword yelling, "Rah!" Momo squeaked and dove into a pile of leaves. His little wings buzzed nervously, scattering bits of orange everywhere. When it finally got quiet again, he peeked out. The running kid had dropped something small, shiny, wrapped in paper. It caught the porch light and shimmered like treasure. Momo crawled closer, sniffed it once, then again. Nothing. Just paper smell. He poked it with his nub, still nothing. He blinked, tilted his head, then very slowly lifted it with both nubs and stuffed it straight into his mouth, paper and all. Crunch! His eyes lit up like a string of fairy lights. Blah, 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 blah. It tasted like stars and glue. He clapped his nubs together, delighted, chewing happily as bits of wrapper crinkled inside his mouth. Then the kid came back, breathing hard. "Hey, that was my favorite one!" He stopped mid-sentence, staring at Momo, who was now proudly chewing the paper like it was the best snack in the galaxy. "You're, supposed to take the wrapper off first," the kid said, crouching down. He unwrapped another candy and handed it over carefully. Momo blinked at the tiny, shiny treat inside, then popped it in his mouth. His wings fluttered with joy. Blah, 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 blah. Even better without paper. Not crunchy, though. The kid laughed, shaking his head. "You're weird." "Thank you." The kid grinned and waved for Momo to follow. "Come on, we're going to the next house." Momo tilted his head, then scurried after him, wings fluttering like crinkly paper. Every porch glowed with pumpkins, each one smiling in a different silly way. Some houses had big fake webs, others had skeletons dancing in the wind. Momo couldn't stop staring. It was like the whole world turned into a big, eerie but shiny playground. But then, something moved. A giant spider the size of a wagon twitched in the yard. Its glowing red eyes. Momo froze, antenna shaking. Blah, 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 blah. "It's alive! It's hungry!" He jumped into the kid's candy bucket. The spider made a soft hiss sound. Or maybe it was just the air pump. The kid started laughing. "It's just inflatable, see?" Then he poked the spider's leg. It wobbled harmlessly. Momo stared, then cautiously poked it too. His nub sank into the soft plastic. Blah, 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 blah. Soft enemy, strange power. He puffed up proudly and did a tiny victory dance, wings buzzing triumphantly, then walked further down the street. Momo tripped on a fake skeleton hand and screamed so loud the other kid jumped. Then he realized it wasn't moving. He blinked at it, picked it up, and started waving it around like a trophy. Blah, 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 blah. Look, found arm. Good arm. Momo then nibbled into it. The ghost kid laughed so hard he almost dropped his candy again. You're the best, little dude. As they went from house to house, Momo began to understand the pattern. Knock, get shiny food, eat. Sometimes the humans smiled, sometimes they screamed. In fun, he thought, and sometimes they gave him extra candy for being so committed to his cute little costume. He didn't know what a costume was, but decided he must be very good at it. By the time the moon climbed high and the lights started dimming, Momo's gifted plastic sack bulged with wrappers and treats. His wings fluttered with excitement, but his eyes still sparkled like tiny stars. He looked up at the glowing decoration and whispered a soft bleh, 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 bleh. I like this weird night. The night had ended as soon as it began. The kid soon had to head home, yet Momo still had his crunchy paper treats to share with his family and a wonderful story to tell about the night of monsters and his new human friend.
The roaring fire was all that illuminated the dark, comfortably furnished room, and shadows danced behind every momo, their eyes fixed on a Momoween skeleton costume in the center of the room. My fellow momos, let us begin this All Hallows celebration with a spine-tingling tale before we go out trick-or-treating, said the bony costumed momo. The gathered momos in accent. This tale is called Mother the Ever Hungry. Materakan, our most beloved, is known for her fine culinary taste and is also a celebrated snacker. However, we all know that she's never truly satisfied, no matter the meal, treat, wine, or momo. Her hunger persists, and there are always more morsels and momos that catch her eye and spark her insatiable hunger. What few momos know is that there is a special treat she has, but once a year, and it is always on this night, said the skeletal momo while firstly looking over the gathered momos. And do you know why so few momos know about this special treat? He continued. Because those who have the privilege to witness it rarely survive to tell of it. The room falls quiet as the invocation of Matara and the reminder of every momo's ever persistent peril and joyous honor of being consumed fills their minds. The fire crackles as the costumed momo continues. Matarakan has an enormous cauldron, and she brings it out on this night every year to make a brew. That is more of a stew. Well, she tends it for hours, meticulously adding ingredients and letting it simmer until it is a rich, indulgent broth. Then, after hours of patiently perfecting it, she brings it up to rolling boil and invites the momos to gather around and enjoy the sumptuous smell. And it is at this time, my dear momos, when all are gathered around, that the lights go out, and all that can be heard are plop noises as the final ingredients are added. The roiling, boiling brew is removed from the flames after 2 minutes, and Matara's spoon claw begins to greedily devour her treasured treat. When the meal is over, Matara is delightfully sated, but the attending momos are never heard from again. A cacophony of breaks out as the gathered momos contemplate in awe the possibility of being an ingredient of Matara's beloved dish. Though a few of them sound rather excited than repulsed. "And now, my dear momos," said the bunny costumed Momo, "please don your costumes and let us go out to trick or treat." The momos scrambled to get into their costumes, and when they were all dressed up, we had spiders, businessmen, hackers, devils, punks, pirates, and even a tentacle monster Momo. Now, appropriately dressed, the momos grabbed pillowcases, the proper size sack for trick-or-treating, and headed out to scour the neighborhood for tasty Halloween treats. The collected momos scurried from house to house and enjoyed as their sacks grew heavy, though not too heavy as they indulged in some of the treats as they went. Eventually, they came to the large house at the far end of the neighborhood and sat a little way from the others. The house was built in the Victorian style, and while only sporting a few decorations, the purple porch light gave it an eerie feeling, and the momos approached it with some trepidation. The momo dressed as the tentacle monster approached the pink front door and rang the doorbell. The door opened with a creak, revealing a grinning Matarakan. "Look at all of you adorable momos in your costumes," she exclaimed. "Do come in, I have just the thing for you all." Matara gestured for the momos to enter as she turned and swept down the entranceway towards the large room. The momos followed in thrilled anticipation, excited to be welcomed in by she who they most revered. However, most froze in their tracks when they entered the room and saw a large cauldron bubbling ominously before them. "Come, my momos," entreated Matara. "Gather around the cauldron." A couple of momos eagerly took up places around the cauldron, while the rest approached more slowly, recalling the story from earlier and uncertain if this honor was truly something they desired. As the last momo stepped up to the cauldron, there was a loud thunderclap and the lights went out. Many momos in terror as they heard a loud plop from the cauldron. "Oh, there's nothing to worry about," said Matara in a mischievous tone. "This place has old wiring. The lights will be back up in a second." And even as she was saying it, the lights flickered back on and the momo saw Matara lifting a large ladle out of the cauldron. "So, who wants to be the first for a hot apple cider?" asked Matara. The momos enjoyed the rest of their Halloween by drinking hot cider with Matara, snacking on candy, and sharing scary stories. Of course, there were so many momos in so many costumes that it would be hard to say with any certainty that they were all accounted for the end of the night. The one thing that is certain is that Matara and all accounted momos were most satisfied by the end of the evening.
One, two, left, right, one foot in front of the other. Run, can't stop, must keep going. Sometimes you never appreciate how beautiful a forest can be until you're deep inside of one running for your life. Left, right, right. Pumping his legs as fast as he can, a little Momo runs through a forest, down a path that he has walked back and forth a few times in the past hour, hauling sleeping bags, tents, and an ice chest with his fellows. So he should know the path by now. However, the sun will set within the half hour. It takes about that long to walk the path. Running should get him there soon. However, the path is mostly a direct line from where they parked the Momo minivan to the clearing with the campfire, but it zigzags around thicker clumps of trees and brambles of thorny berry bushes. So he runs straight, knowing he'll see the firelight eventually. Hopefully. Running from what? Well, he tries not to think about that. Just run. There will be time to think later. Think at the campsite, when he can ask the other Momos the most pressing question. Branches brushing against his flushed cheeks. Ash, maple, oak in abundance. Their fallen leaves must look to be a beautiful burst of autumnal colors being kicked up under his fleet feet to anyone watching him. There are pines and a smattering of spruces. He veers away from them because of the thicker darkness accumulating under their needles. A larch, scraggly apple trees with branches low to the ground. He risks running through them. Taking a glance backwards, he doesn't see her, but she's there. As quiet as she is for her size, she still rustles leaves, which to his very on-edge nerves rustles all his jimmies, which are doubly rustled when he bumps into a branch, knocking a half-dozen crab apples at his feet and one on his head. There's no time to think about the bitter pie those apples could have made. He runs on with a lump on his pale little head. Running back to the campfire he can't yet see with two thoughts in his head. 1. Must get to the welcoming warmth of the campfire. 2. Pray they still have the one thing that will save him. A third thought tries to creep into his head. It's an echo of the thing behind him he is trying desperately not to focus on. The third thought is roughly, I hate birch trees. The sky is a rosy orange pink, dancing into the indigo evening. It's still sort of light out, but the forest is dark, growing darker every minute. Every limb and branch is a solid shadow bent and reaching out. These blackened trees with faintly light fall-colored leaves set against the sunset sky make for a haunting image fit for a picture postcard. The birch trees jump out in the darkness, the stark white trunks, brighter than anything else around, reminding him of her. And the eyes, scars left in the trees of long-lost branches. The black, oval eyes staring at him from those white trunks with their sharp, grasping branches. I hate birch. I've never been interested in trees. Not that I dislike them, I just don't think about trees. But now, I hate these white ghostly stalks sticking out of the soil, staring at me as I run. It could only be worse if those eyes were the same color as the spreading sunset sky. Only one pair of eyes looking at him is that illuminated mix of colors. Unfortunately for him, those eyes were getting closer. Yards away and closing in quickly. Rosy orange pink eyes. Her eyes. Ruddy orange light fills the clearing. The campfire has grown full and fat, fed with lots tended by the designated firekeeper. 4 other Momos sit around it on old logs worn down from generations of campers' butts warmed by the ever-reborn campfire within its ring of rocks. A few other Momos putter around at the edge of the clearing, fussing about with the tents, some of which refuse to peg and tab properly, muttered curses about unreadable instructions. Someone's already fallen asleep in a sleeping bag outside of an unfinished tent. Most of them have on the remains of Halloween costumes from earlier in the day. Vampire capes, witches' hats, ghostly disguises, mostly silly hats, and lighter outfits. The bulkier costumes have been discarded in a pile. Uninflated dinosaur, a plump cloth pumpkin, foam swords. Half the eyes in the clearing lay on a pirate telling a tale.
As he started to pull at the ribbon, she pleaded with him one more time.
Please, if you love me, don't take off the ribbon, that's all I ask. The momos hang on his every word, leaning closer to him, closer to the fire. Their soft little white faces warming up as the tale reaches its climax. The pirate teller of tales goes on.
He pauses for but a second, then continues saying, "It's because I love you that I must. I don't care about any old scars this covers. I love every inch of you. I will see what lies underneath the green ribbon."
The Momo next to the pirate pulls a stick away from the fire. Biting the end of it, he pulls off a marshmallow with a little... Chewing while intent on the story, his other hands fumble on the log next to him, bringing the tale to a close.
He pulls the ribbon. It comes undone. To the ground the ribbon flutters. She screams. To the ground her...
A scream of excitement crashes through the camp as a Momo stumbles out of the woods, face covered in scratches from branches, a rosy apple bump forming on his forehead. "Ah! Amir! You're here! Where? Where are they?" He squeaks out, eyes darting around the clearing.
"What's the matter, lad? You interrupted the best part of my story," pouts the pirate. "Catch your breath for a dang second. Tell us, what are y'all yelling about? Where's what?"
Mumbles the Momo with a marshmallow in his mouth. The lad, fresh from the forest, pauses to take a big breath. His beating heart sounds like it's shaking the whole clearing as it pounds in his ears. He knows he doesn't have much time. He tries to explain. "Okay, we brought a lot of them. We have to have bags of them. She's looking for them. I know you still have them. She needs..." His eyes lock with the Momo chewing the marshmallow. Mallow Muncher has picked up a bag off the log. He's shaking the bag. It looks empty. He upends a bag. Sugar dust comes out. White, sprawling dust and one small, squished, half-cut lump of a marshmallow that falls to the ground. The last marshmallow. She's so hungry. As the half-mallow falls to the ground, bounces off a rock, rolls onto a log waiting to be tossed on the fire. Everything feels like it's in slow motion, as the Momo who just stumbled into camp feels tears well up in his eyes, tears of exhaustion and regret. He looks back at the Momo chewing. The tears grow bigger. She needs marshmallows. The darkness of the forest around the campsite cracks in half as a white spiked claw crack branches of ancient oaks out of their way. The clearing is huge for a baker's dozen small round momos. However, she fills nearly a quarter of it with her legs and claws and hair and wide, hungry smile. "Hi, honeys." Her voice booms around the clearing and echoes back against her birch-white carapace. A dozen pairs of eyes in the white heads of round, soft, plump momos, warmed by the fire, look at her smiling. One pair of eyes stares into the fire, crying. The firelight dances in her rosy orange-pink eyes. The sunset fades from the sky. Except for the campfire, it's all dark now. The fire and her dancing eyes are the only lights in the night. She leans down, putting one hand down on a log bench, that hand taking up more space on the log than any Momo butts. Her other hand hovers holding something upturned above the head of the silently sobbing Momo. Her head looms close to the fire. Shaking her upturned hand, her hungry mouth opens to speak. "I brought the chocolate bars with me, and I see those golden graham crackers by the ice chest." Thinking of the snack she's been dreaming of on the way to camp, a snack so delicious she started running, she starts to drool a little. It drips onto the fire and sizzles into steam. "Who's got any white, soft, warm, gooey marshmallows for me? I'm starving." And don't you all just look delicious?